Hi everyone, welcome back to the Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with a post-match reaction. I don't even know where to start with that, really. Newcastle United 6, Spurs 1. Unfucking believable. I did say I thought there was going to be a reaction to the Villa game. I had no idea it was going to be a reaction like that. I don't think anybody did, to be honest with you. I don't think I've ever seen a better first half of football at St James's Park in my entire life supporting the club. Let me know in the comments below if you've seen a better one in your life supporting the club. Incredible. We'll get stuck right into this in a minute. Just look at the lineup and talk about some of the key moments of the game. Just God, there were so many. We could be here all night, couldn't we? If they're new to the channel, you're just checking us out for the first time, please consider subscribing. We'd love you to come and join us. We're nearly at 3,000 subscribers, or something like 2,860 something, I think, after today's rant video about Paul Merson, the bell end, who got this one wrong, didn't he? As did I, to be fair. No one predicted that score. But yeah, come and join us. All free content. Mondays and Wednesdays, podcasts and pop-up videos just like the one you're about to watch. We're live tonight, so please jump in the comments. Let us know what you guys think about today. It was just simply spectacular. We've already got a couple of comments in there. Brilliant comment from Davey there. Another lucky win, absolutely. And we've got Kevin Williams saying, I can't believe it's 2-0 inside 10 minutes. So that was earlier on. These boys were in earlier on. And I've just seen them pop up now, guys. But incredible. Les has just jumped in as well. Amazing response. Do you know what, mate? I'm going to come to the Danny Rose thing in a minute because that was absolutely incredible. I was going to give him some shit for his bonnet or his cap, but I'll get stuck into that in a minute. So Andrew Freeman there saying, great to see the lads let their hair down. Absolutely. And we've got Faz in the comments just saying dirty tactics by Newcastle scoring 5 in 21 minutes. Shocking. So let's get stuck in then. So obviously this is how we're lined up today. It was great to see Sean Longstaff back. I think we missed him. Last week, I think a lot of people underestimated the worth of Sean Longstaff to this team, his energy. Great to see him back in. Jacob Murphy continued in the front three alongside Joe Linton and Alexander Isak. So Miggy didn't start, which was a funny one. We all thought he might have done. And obviously, Callum Wilson was back on the bench as well. I know he's not very happy about this, but when Alexander Isak is in this kind of a form, it's very difficult to drop him, to be honest. So getting stuck right into the game, I mean, fucking hell, I don't even know where to begin. We just completely burst out the traps, really. Spurs, I've been saying for a long time that Spurs are a two-man team, if they're lucky. Son and Kane, and outside of that, they're pretty rank average. And we absolutely battered them. First half, we're just on them all over the place. Joe Linton has the freedom of the city running at Spurs. All them Spurs fans who travelled that far to watch that must have been sick as a fucking chip. 1 minute in, whatever it was, 1 minute 20 in, Joe Linton has a shot. Lloris parries it. I think Lloris is finished. I think he's been finished for years. Jacob Murphy smashes it in the back of the net. Now, I've given Jacob Murphy a lot of shit over the years, certainly since we've been doing this podcast, and he is due an unreserved apology from me today because he was fucking brilliant today. So Jacob Murphy gets the first goal. Stadium erupts. Spurs are completely shell-shocked. The Spurs fans are completely shell-shocked. They're barely sat in their chairs, and the game has begun. And this Newcastle United just looked hungry. They looked lethal. They just looked like they wanted to tear Spurs apart. And I knew Eddie Howe would have got into them in the week through training about the Villa game because it just wasn't us. There was no intensity there. Today, that was all opposite. Pure intensity from start to finish. And the lads were absolutely brilliant. So shortly after that, game goes on. Beautiful ball over the top by Fabian Schär. Unbelievable control by Joe Linton. Rounds the keeper, slips it in. We're 2-0 up. The whole stadium's going nuts. Joe Linton's pumping the air, punching the air. Absolutely incredible. And you're thinking, how can this game get any better? Well, let me tell you how this game can get any better. The ball drops to Jacob Murphy, and he unleashes a thunder bastard of a strike. Now, normally when Jacob Murphy does this type of a thing, it ends up putting somebody's car window out in there who's parked next to the Leazer's end. Not this time. It flies into the back of the net, past a completely rooted to the spot Lloris, pulling this look from Jacob Murphy's face, which will be a meme for a long time, I'm pretty sure. Mark has already used his editing skills in this video to pull this picture up. Jacob Murphy looked just as surprised as the rest of us did when that nestled in the back of the net. So Jacob Murphy gets a brace for Newcastle United. Honestly, if you'd went to the bookies at the start of this game and said, I'm going to have odds on Jacob Murphy getting a brace, they would have laughed you out of the bookies. And my God, you would have had some odds on that. So if any gamblers have taken that bet, I say kudos to you, and I hope you spend your winnings wisely. Got some more comments just flying in here just before we get into the next bit. Simon May say, weird afternoon. He was round with friends having dinner, ended up seeing one goal, the bloody Spurs goal. I kind of missed it. I think Kane picked the pocket, didn't he? I'll get to that in a minute. That was a shit goal. No one cares about that. Kevin Williams said second half was boring. And Simon said, yeah, we drew the second half. Not good enough. We've got Jens in the comments saying we were prolific. Loris, one of the worst keepers in the world, and the Spurs defence was horrific. Champions League as well within our grasp. I couldn't agree with that more, Jens. I think, to be fair, I said if Spurs lost this game, that would be their Champions League hopes kind of dead. And after losing it in that kind of a style, they are falling to pieces. I mean, they were arguing with each other left, right, and centre. You think, again, as going back to the game, you're thinking, is this going to get any worse for Spurs? The fourth goal, I need to talk about the fourth goal. This kid has had praise galore on this channel, right? But Joe Willock is today, for the fourth goal, for Alexander Isak's first goal, has hit the pass of the season. And even Jamie Redknapp said that, and he talks out of his arse half the time. But Joe Willock hit the pass of the season for that fourth goal. To hit that on the outside of his foot, around that Spurs defence, was something De Bruyne would have knocked one out over. That was an unbelievable pass. And not only was it an unbelievable pass, the striker, the run from Isak to stay onside with that pace, to control it like he did, to slip it into the bottom corner, just cool as fuck. The two of them take a massive bow. One of the best goals I've seen Newcastle United score in a long time. And if Joe Willock can put more of that kind of thing in his game, this kid is going to be one of the best midfielders in the league. You know, the goal scoring still needs to come back a little bit for Joe Willock, is the only thing I can criticise him on. But that goal was fucking spectacular. And again, Spurs are completely on the ropes. Well, not even 20-odd minutes in here. We're absolutely demolishing these guys. Those Spurs fans up the top, I felt a little bit sorry for them at some point. You know, imagine looking at the kids going, what time's the fucking try now, mate? Fucking hell. They look absolutely devastated. And we would have been the same if we travelled all the way to Spurs and were 4-0 down in 18 minutes or whatever it was. So, again, the ball comes through, a little bit of 1-2 football, great little bit of feet by Isak. He bursts through yet again. They don't mark him, and he slips in the bottom corner, and it's 5-0. A brace for Isak, a brace for Murphy, and a goal for Joe Linton. We're in Dream Street here. Newcastle United are in Dream Street. This is the kind of football we used to play under Kevin Keegan, battering teams like this. You know, it reminded me of the game when we beat Spurs, funnily enough, 7-1 when Shearer got 4, and people kept referencing that in the commentary. The commentators didn't even know where to look. To be honest with you, they were absolutely shell-shocked, as we were. So, you know, we go in 5-0 at half-time, we go in, and I'm thinking, what the hell can Spurs even possibly try to do here? And I think he goes to his bench. I think he might have even made the sub beforehand. So I can't remember the name of the standing manager for Spurs. I think he's one of Conte's guys, I think, which I don't understand. And he goes to his bench and he hooks, is it Saar, the number 29 for Spurs, who had a stinker. He honestly, he couldn't get anywhere near Alexander Isak. If he slept in his bed, he couldn't get near him. He was that bad. And they subbed him off for Davison Sanchez, of all people, who got booed off the pitch last week. And I bet you the Spurs fans were up there just like this. Oh my God, what the fucking hell is going on? And we go in at 5-0 up half time. Absolutely brilliant. So again, as some of you said in the comments as well, the second half was maybe a little bit of a slowdown. I still thought we could have had another 2 or 3 goals in us, I've got to say. And then Spurs get that goal. Harry Kane, I think, robs Botman, I think it is, or was it Shaw, one or two? He robs it off Botman or Shaw, and he puts it away with his left peg. Doesn't celebrate, rightly so, because he's getting absolutely humped by Newcastle United. And then we end up making some subs. Isak comes off, Wilson comes on, Miggy comes on, and then shortly after that, Miggy wriggles through, bit of a shot, come cross, falls to Callum Wilson, scores a beautiful finish. It's 6-1, and the game finished 6-1. You know, there was a few chances for Gordon, I think, towards the end of the game. Longstaff had a couple of chances, but you know, the game was won in the first half, and it was just absolutely incredible. Just one of the best games I have seen in a long time. And you know, there was the manner of the victory against the manner of the opponent as well. To beat Spurs, who were one spot below us today in such a fashion. Yes, Spurs are falling to pieces. Yes, the major problems there. They're probably going to lose a star player this summer as well. But Newcastle United came here today after the defeat against Villa, after certain people in the media maybe questioning Eddie Howe, questioning whether this team is kind of tipping over a little bit. And they answered emphatically, no, we're not. We are here. We are still here. We are still the informed team in this top 4 race. And that's exactly what the lads proved today. And it was fucking phenomenal and a brilliant performance by everybody in a black and white shirt, from Pope upwards. And I've got to say, you wouldn't back against Newcastle United to get in the top 4 after that. So just have to check a few more of your comments flying in here. William said true or false, the mascots are warming up at half time. Well, the funny thing actually about subs and everything as well, William, was I think obviously Lloris comes off for Fraser Forster. Yes, he's still playing, ex-Newcastle player, ex-Celtic player. My dad was a big fan of Forster when he was the yellow wall, I think, in the Barcelona game many moons ago. But Lloris has gone off apparently with an injury, right? Like I said, I think Lloris has been finished for a long time, and I think he's done at Spurs now. Whoever goes in there as a manager, that keeper is a dodgy keeper. For Isak's the 5th goal, I think he should save it. I know if Mark was on the air, Mark's a keeper, and Mark would have them all over the place. He should have probably stopped it. The first goal, even arguably, doesn't get strong enough hand to push it far enough away for Murphy. Before he smashed the back net, but we don't give a shit about that. Thanks very much for being crap, Lloris, and conceding 5. But yeah, I don't think we'll see much of Hugo Lloris for the rest of the season. That can only help us going forward. Got a comment there from a new viewer. So it's Kevin Pryor, new to you here. Great win for the Toon. Good to see you, Kevin. Smash that button, mate, if you haven't already. Got a comment there from Greg. Said, love the reaction from last week. Well-deserved top 4. Absolutely, Greg. Couldn't agree with you more, mate. Look at a few more comments here. Simon is saying again, agree, top reaction. I was nervous as hell before. And a lot of people were, to be honest with you. Oh, mate, Ian's in the house. Get the fuck in. Absolutely, mate. 100%. Great game, that is, mate. We've got EK saying great game. Absolutely, EK is a fantastic game. Just sitting back here. A few more of your comments, guys. Oh, hello. Pressing the wrong button here. There it is. Loads of comments flying in here. Ian's in the house. Love it. How are the lads? Absolutely into, right? We've got a sensible moniker in there as well. Lascelles, man of the match. Love it, mate. Yeah, Lascelles did come on as well, to be fair. Lascelles did come on. Bit of a strange one as well, wasn't it? So Shaw was injured. Wanted to come off. And then Eddie said, no, just hang on a little bit longer. We'll get a break in play and everything else. And then he let him come off for Lascelles, who didn't really do much wrong, didn't do much right. Even Javier Manquillo came on today, which was quite funny. I think at one point Manquillo, I think Nicky played a ball down the line to him. I think he stopped for him and he couldn't quite remember what to do as a footballer because he hasn't played for that long. But I like Manquillo. He's always been a steady 6 out of 10, but obviously where the club's going, he's probably not got a future yet, in all fairness, especially the likes of Ashby and waiting in the wings to maybe be Trippier's understudy moving forward. But yeah, I mean, just going back to the game, obviously finishing up there, the lads doing a well-deserved lap of honour. That's right, Paul Scholes, a well-deserved lap of honour. We do it all the time. Check it out, mate. It's not just special against Manchester United. But yeah, it was just a privilege to watch that team playing. Going back to some of the channel, some of the chat there that you guys said earlier on about Danny Rose. Now, Danny Rose in the internet was getting some shit because of his cap that he was wearing. He did look a bit like Captain Birdseye. I was getting a bit of Cheryl Cole fight for this love vibes. I don't know if he was taking a piss out Kieran Dyer, who's obviously got some history with Cheryl Cole, hasn't he, lucky bastard? But the best thing he's ever done in Newcastle, as I've said before. But yeah, so Danny Rose was quite honest, actually, quite raw and open. And he said he hasn't watched football since he struggled to get a club. He's obviously, mentally, he's been quite open about his mental health. The past is Danny Rose on a serious note. And Eddie Howe came over after the game. I watched a little bit of this before I jumped on to do this for you guys. And he said to Eddie Howe, he hasn't watched a lot of football, but that 90 minutes there has just made him fall in love with football all over again. And he thanked Eddie Howe for that. And that was pretty cool. I must admit, he has had a bit of shit, Danny Rose, over the years, even off us as well as Newcastle fans, because they did great for us. But it was really nice to hear somebody say that to Eddie Howe and just know that the impact of that team and what it's doing, not just for us fans and for football fans, but for ex-pros who are maybe in a bit of a dark place, to come to that stadium, to listen to that atmosphere, to drink that in and to watch that football, to make Danny Rose fall in love with the game again. That's pretty awesome, man. I think Eddie was really appreciative of that. And, as you said in the comments there, fair play to Danny Rose for that as well. I've got a comment from the Pocket Geordie. Loving the channel. He subscribed last week. Really enjoy the rants on the media muppets. Who are the lads? Thank you so much for that, Pocket. Really appreciate that, mate. There'll be plenty more of them, I'm sure, because there'll be a few more knackers out, I'm pretty sure, in the weeks to come. We've got Harry saying the first 20 minutes, incredible. Absolutely, Harry. It was, I didn't even know what to say apart from fucking get in numerous times, mate. It was just absolutely incredible. Got Jens there saying 6-1, strawberries and champagnes at centre court. Absolutely, mate. We were gold standard today. I don't think anybody who watched that Newcastle United performance today would back us not finishing top four. And we've got the new monkey there saying just back Real Madrid away. Anybody? Absolutely, mate. Do you know what? I'd take Real Madrid if we play like that and bring on Real Madrid, mate. Why not? We can have them. Absolutely. You got to fancy anybody there. I do agree with you, David, as well. I don't think we're going to get relegated, mate. I think that's a safe bet now. I think we can stop worrying about being relegated now. I think we're going to be okay, mate. We're going to be okay. We've got Shez in there. Good to see you too, Shez. Terrible game, letting one in. Eddie out. Not exactly, mate. I think it's terrible. He needs to come and answer the media there. He really, really does. We've got Vital Newcastle in the comments talking the tie-in. I'm totally supposed to be working now, but I thought I'd pop on. Good to see you too, Vital. Thanks for coming on, mate. But yeah, it's just, as Ian says there, his passport's going to take one hell of a beating this year. Do you know what it is? I totally agree with you. I think none of us thought at the start of the season that the Champions League was going to be possible. Maybe Europa Cup football. I think that that was a realistic opportunity because the way we finished the season last season with a few good additions that we made, you would have fancied us to maybe push in for that kind of top 7 at a push. But most people were happy with top 10. But as the season goes by and we play the way we play, we've only lost 4 games in total all season. Yes, Paul Merson, 4 games in total. Remember that, Eddie Howard, idiot. But yeah, the way we played, you were starting to get that feeling, that buzz that we could do something here, we could do this. And I really think that Newcastle United got to be the favourites for that top 4 spot. I still think Man United will get in there, whether they're 4th or 3rd, but I think we are definitely going to be 3rd or 4th. I'm laughing at the comment, yeah. What's with the life preserver? I'm drowning in goals, mate. That's what it is. Have some of that. That's how quick I can be today. I'm nearly as quick as Alexander Isak there, mate. God, I love it. Shaz is loving that in the comments as well. We've got Dave saying, seriously, Eddie will be fuming with letting a goal. He's a perfectionist. He is a perfectionist. He really is. Unreal, to be fair, says Chrissy's barbecue. Absolutely, mate. We were on fire, just like your barbecue, Chrissy. But yeah, you're starting to run out of superlatives when you see a game like that. You really do. And just another comment there from Les saying that he agrees with me. Rose said it was an honour to watch Newcastle. The bloke was being clearly genuine. I think he was, to be fair, mate. He's had a rough ride. I think it's Danny Rose. I was quite happy when we signed him, back when he came in. I thought he still had a decent little turn in him. And he did all right in some games under Bruce, but he was kind of at the end of his career. But it was really nice of him. So I think he was being quite genuine there. Kevin saying, could Newcastle do anything to prevent Kane's goal? As I said, mate, I nipped out and get myself a couple. I think when that one went in, as comfortable as I thought the game was going to be. But for what I've seen of it, I just think it's one of those slight lapses of concentration. Maybe a good bit of poaching play by Harry Kane to nip in there, but. When you're 5-1 up, Kevin, who gives a fuck really? But we were in control of that game. Harry Kane could have scored another one if he wanted. I don't think we would have went anywhere at all. Mark said maybe Brigadier Lawrenson as a defensive coach would have handled conceding that goal. Yeah, he could organise them 5-a-sides, as you said again, Mark. It is his confession about how shit he was at Newcastle United. Greg was also saying he was buzzing when we signed Rose. It was a shame he didn't work out. I love the fact that he said he loved fish and chips was his main opening gambit when he came up here. So should have got him down Whitley Bay Seafront. He would have loved it. David Veach, you're saying start playing the Champions League theme tune, Chris. I can hear it, mate, already ringing in my ears. I think Callum Wilson's been singing it on his podcast as well, to be fair. Everton away will be tough, says Kev, despite their issues. Yeah, I mean, the relegation picture that. I was talking to my dad about that. I came to my dad's to watch the game. And Bamford saying poor defending for Kane's goal. But at least we had the goals up front, Bramford, so it wasn't that big of an issue. But I was saying that to my dad, the fixtures we've got left. I mean, obviously you've got Brighton and you've got Arsenal, who are are top sides and playing good football. And then the other games you think, they're the ones that will win easily. But as Arsenal showed the other night, with Southampton fighting for their lives, that they could be the tricky ones. So the Leeds, the Southamptons, the Leicesters, the Evertons, that they could be really tricky fixtures for this squad to navigate their way through. I mean, going back to Spurs, and my sympathies are with those travelling Spurs fans. The club has been in disarray this season. I think this has been coming for a long time, getting rid of managers left, right, and centre. No consistency. Maybe not investing wisely in your playing squad. But then to come all the way to Newcastle and see that and just see your team capitulate like that is not good for the Spurs. The Spurs support, but they've got Liverpool next week, and then they have Manchester United. So I think they're in big trouble of not getting this top 4. I wouldn't see them in the top 4 at all, to be honest with you. Brighton and Villa maybe be on the edges. But yeah, for me, it's going to be, I think City wins the league, Arsenal shit the bed, goes second. I think, should we say, we finished third, Man United finished fourth. Fuck it, I've gone for it. So clip this, Mark, if I get it wrong. Shaz is saying Eddie's quickest to 100 points, second only to KK. How lucky we are to have him. I honestly think he could be the best manager we've ever had. KK, exciting football, and Sir Bobby was a tactical genius and a gentleman. Do you know what, Shaz? Well said, mate. I think that Eddie reminds me a lot of Sir Bobby, I think, because of the way that he can organise a team and that kind of football purist brain that he has. KK was raw passion, wasn't he? He was raw passion. And he was just saying, get out there, you're the best players in the world. He made people feel 10 foot tall. He signed very good players and he surrounded himself by very good footballers. And that really helps. But I think where Eddie Howe differs from KK is Eddie Howe makes all right footballers into good footballers and good footballers into great footballers, just down to his pure ability as a coach on the training pitch, alongside Jason Tindall and the rest of the guys that are in that team. So I really think that Eddie Howe has that moniker about him, and he just has that skill set. And for me, if we finish top four, he's manager of the season for me. I really don't care what anybody else says. I think he's got to be up there for manager of the season. I mean, I'd be shocked if a lot of our team isn't in the Premier League team of the season. Certainly that defensive unit, the likes of Botman, Shaw, Trippier. I'd be shocked if we're not in there. I really would, because they've just been sensational this season. Which is testament again to the lads' consistency in how they've played. And Ian agrees with you as well, shares that obviously Eddie is fucking class, as Les does as well. Which is very well said, mate. A brilliant comment there. But yeah, so I mean, going back to today, I mean, to be in that stadium, I'm gutted I wasn't there. A few of the Evermore crew was there, so big shout out to PK and Lee and Audie, who would all be there. Yeah, Dan would be there as well, I'm sure. And that atmosphere must have been absolutely incredible to be 5-0 up in 20 minutes. We'll get the boys on next week, hopefully, for the Evermore podcast. They can tell us all about it. But that atmosphere must have been absolutely incredible. I mean, for the Spurs fans who stuck around, credit to them. I'm sure if they go for a pint after the game, we are a great club for away fans having a pint. We don't give anybody shit. We'll have a bit of crack and a bit of banter and stuff like that. But we've been there. We've been in them Spurs fans' shoes. So we do remember that. They'll have a beer with Newcastle fans and they'll talk about it in the stadium afterwards as well. Sorry, Vital. Yes, poor Simon. Don't make her fight with me anymore, mate. She needs no excuse. Simon is there as well. So beg your pardon, Simon. You get me in trouble, you. I know exactly who this mischief maker is behind this handle here. So Kevin is saying that Robson with Shearer and his captain deserved a trophy to get Newcastle. 2001-2003 period was brilliant. Absolutely. I think the way that Bobby built that team as well, Kevin. Kevin saying who's Simon. Simon's one of our podcast members as well. She pops on every now and again. I've got my mate Tim Wood is in the house, just simply how we're absolutely Woody. Brilliant result, mate. I'm sure you would have enjoyed it as well, wherever you're watching it, mate. But that's exactly what we needed, I think, after the Villa game. I had no doubt in my mind that we were going to get a positive result today from the back of the Villa game. Eddie Howe does not allow his team to just get their heads down and stay down. And, I just missed Kieran Trippier come on there before I jumped on to do the post-match. And all I heard him say was get after teams. And I love that ruthlessness of our captain as well, just to get after teams, and that just shows you the kind of levels of professionalism that we've got around the pitch. Man of the match. Let's get to my man of the match. I haven't even said that. So man of the match for me has to be, because I give him loads of shit. I say he's terrible. I've called him a scarecrow. I've called him brainless. I've called him all sorts of stuff, right? And I'm not going to sit here today and not give man of the match to Jacob Murphy, right? Because Jacob Murphy will never get man of the match off me ever again as a Newcastle player. He scored a brace today. He could have got a hat-trick. He was fucking brilliant, and he's given us all that beautiful meme for Evermore. So, yeah, Jacob Murphy, congratulations, mate. Take a bow. You are the Evermore man of the match, mate, and I owe you an undue apology because you are starting to look like a really good footballer. So fair play to you, mate, and fair play to Eddie Howe for getting that tune out of him as well. Kevin saying he's looking forward to watching match of the day too. Absolutely, absolutely. David saying the record signing Alexander Isak helped to blast Newcastle with Tustin to the Champions League. Yeah, good shout, mate. That's like a quote from my latest article. Isak again was just sensational, wasn't he? Simon saying with Eddie Howe and JT and the coaching team and Dan Ashworth working his magic behind the scenes, we are really building for long-term success. Absolutely, Simon. That's the beauty here is that I was saying that, to my dad, talking about Bruno as well. I mean, Joe Linton and Bruno together today was brilliant. It was a couple of blonde bombshells just rattling the Spurs midfield all over. They were kicking them. They were getting yellow cards. Spurs were looking out to get a red card. I think Oliver Skip was about the only one who actually looked like a decent footballer today. The rest of the Spurs team were totally outshadowed by Joe and Bruno. And Bruno's ankle looked a bit ropey at one point. I was a little bit concerned about that. I was surprised Eddie didn't take him off. But you know what? He was still class, even though he's carrying that knock, he's carrying that injury. And fair play to Bruno again for putting in a great shift, some lovely passing around. But Joe Linton just looked massive today in every possible way. Massive in terms of his presence, massive in terms of his performance, pumped the crowd up and everything else. But going back to Alexander Isak just for a moment, this kid is just unbelievable. 63 million quid just looks like an absolute bargain for me. It really does. I mean, we're talking about having a stage now in our development where we can call on two brilliant strikers to come into this team, whether they start, whether they come off the bench and get goals. Alexander Isak is just so crisp, he's so slick. His movement and everything else is just unbelievable. It really is. I mean, to take that goal like he did, that smooth finish, just to slip at the bottom corner. We've said it before, it was kind of Henry-esque, really, with the way he put that ball away. And then, the fifth as well, he gets in a great position. He wriggles through. His feet are so quick as well. He just looks so calm. He nearly scores a header as well when Longstaff rattles the ball at his head. Might have given him brain damage when he hit it, to be fair, but he still nearly got in there. And then Wilson comes off the bench, scores a goal. Looks grumpy as fuck because he's not starting games. I love the competition between the two of them. I love that when he come off, where Wilson did this to him as if, absolutely beautiful game, mate. So they've got that respect for each other. And it's amazing that Newcastle United have got these two great forwards now. It wasn't so long ago we had a choice between Dwight Gale or fucking Andy Carroll. So to see where we are now, that is just brilliant for me. So long may it continue for these two smashing in goals. A couple of more comments there. Sensible saying that Big Joe was man of the match. I knew he did give it a Big Joe, Sensible. But I've got to give Murphy his due, mate. I really do, because he's had so much shit off me and many others. He had to have it, mate. He absolutely had to have it. David is saying it's amazing how Howe's improved a lot of them apart from the bandage, man. Yeah, we won't get into St. Max. We'll get the old St. Max fangirls giving us shit. But yeah, I think St. Max probably is the only player that hasn't really improved dramatically under Eddie Howe. What he's done with Joe Willock as well. Joe Willock has gone from being this goal-scoring midfielder to just this complete midfielder. He's missing the goals is the only thing he's missing. But to hit that De Bruyne-esque pass today, like he did, and even said after the game, Willock, I caught his interview, and he said, we work on that in training. It was a great run. I saw the run, and I hit it. So they've been working on that in training, working on Isak's movement. And to have a striker that can move like that, where the players know where he is to hit that ball. I mean, to be fair, John Joe Shelby's somewhere being devastated that he hasn't had a chance to play with Alexander Isak, because that was kind of ball that Shelby would have played all day long. Kevin's saying Isak or Isaac, is it? Yeah, Isaac, yeah. I say Isak. I think we had a Swedish listener on a while ago, as Vital says, it is Isak. I think is what the Swedish listener said, and Shez agrees, Isak. That's what I call him anyway. Or you can just call him fucking classmate, because that's what he is. Not to nick a line off anybody else's podcast, but yes, he is fucking class. Absolutely. And again, Shez is saying, well said, Chris, I'm not cringing anymore when we make subs. Absolutely. To have that depth. I mean, you look at that bench and you're bringing on Callum Wilson, you're bringing on Miggy, and you're thinking to yourself, you're bringing on Wilson, I've said Wilson already, Wilson and Miggy, and you're thinking them two are stars most weeks, and now they can't get in the team, and that team is 5-0 up when them two are on the bench, and you think, fucking hell, like that for me is incredible. That shows you how far this club is gone. And then in the summer, you've got a chance to bring in more players. We talked about the three budgets, the Champions League, the Europa League, and then the no European football. You can scratch the no European football now, no matter where we're finishing, see the Champions League or it's Europa. We're going to build in a better quality of player. But as Eddie Howe said before the game when he was interviewed, there's no point in just throwing money and bringing in a player. It's got to be the right character, the right player to fit into the system and everything else. Marcus saying Joe Litton was his man of the match, but Willock, Murphy, Bruno, and Isaac, I said Isaac, are all brilliant. Absolutely, mate. Yeah, you can't deny that. There's been so many great players there. Kev is saying that he thought Gale was good for the two. And yeah, during promotion. But Gale's a championship striker, mate. In the championship, he was like bloody Haaland in the championship, mate. He couldn't miss a goal, could he? He was absolutely class. How did Gordon look today? Yeah, do you know what? He tried hard. I think sometimes Gordon tries a bit too hard, I think, is is the only issue with Anthony Gordon. He's so desperate for it to work here. I think that's why he got himself all wound up when he got hooked the other week, and obviously threw his little toys out the pram with Eddie. But he made some nice little runs again, some nice give and goes. He gets through on goal. Probably should have done better, but it was a good save by Forster in the end. Spread himself well. He's a big lad, made a good save. But I said that to my dad when we were watching it, that Gordon just needs a goal, just needs a little goal, or needs a really good assist to get himself up and running again. But his time will come in this team. I think, yes, we're going to sign, good players. As Mark rightly says there, he was a force to shin away from getting a goal. We are going to sign really good players in the summer. There's no question about that. And Gordon will have to, prove his worth to get into the side. But I think, the longer he gets these little cameos coming in, the more he understands his teammates around him, the better he'll become. He's a young player as well. Look what he's done with Joe Linton. Eddie Howe, Joe Linton was 23, 24. I think when Eddie Howe come, whatever, he's 25, 26 now or something like that. Eddie Howe's been here 18 months. He's turned Joe Linton into, fucking prime Vieira, Yaya Toure rolled into one. As Shez rightly says there, he is raw. He is raw, Shez. And Eddie will get him there with the right attitude, no doubt. You don't want to lose that fire from him, Shez, as well. He's got that kind of Craig Bellamy, Wayne Rooney-esque temper that makes him a better player. And I think Eddie Howe has said that about before, and you want him to harness that in the right way. I think he will do that, but the price tag, the reputation, he's always going to have the judgment against him. I think if he comes in and does that for the tune and he puts in performances in a black and white shirt, Newcastle fans will forgive him. They'll be on side with him. They'll want him to do well. Outside, there'll always be people trying to trip him up and make him out to be something that he isn't, like Stan Collymore a few weeks ago and all that shit. But I think Anthony Gordon will do well in the black and white shirt, and just give him a little bit of time, more cameos like that. The race for the top four is a tight race. We're right in the mix of it, so he's not going to get starts over, Miggy or even Murphy at the minute, because Murphy's really stepped up his game. And it's all down to Gordon on the training pitch to show Eddie Howe and Jason Tindall that, he should be in this team. And I'm sure that's what he'll do. That's absolutely what he'll do. But George in the comments there saying it takes a team which is that good to do that to a team that bad. You're right, mate. I mean, Spurs have completely fell apart. They really have. I mean, you could argue Conte got a lot of shit for saying what he said, right? And I think I said it at the time. I think Conte was completely right calling them players out. He called them bottle merchants. He said they weren't good enough. He said this is Spurs year after year, constant failure. Look at the managers they've had as well. They've had Pochettino, they've had Jose, they've had Conte. These are top managers, man. And they haven't done fuck all. So I think for me, Conte was bang on with everything that he said. And he'll be there somewhere sitting in his on his white leather sofa, because he looks like a bit of a Goodfellas gangster and sounds like a bit of a Godfather's gangster, doesn't he? He'd be sitting there somewhere sipping his red wine and just chuckling to himself in a really deep mafia boss style maniacal giggle that he was right, because he was right. And I think a lot of Spurs fans who give him shit are probably looking at now going, actually, that guy was absolutely bang on. And as George rightly says there, he agrees with me, and he says that Conte was done dirty by Spurs. I totally agree with that, mate. Yeah, I just think that he was bang on, totally right, because he knew they were bottle jobs. If Eddie had Ali Dyer in his squad, he'd get a tune out of him. Bloody hell. Eddie Howe was like the new Harry Potter, able to perform magic miracles out of nowhere. Shez is saying, anyone notice how quiet the stadium went briefly after 5-0? It's like the whole stadium was in shock. I can imagine that was, yeah. As George says, really weird. It was that total shock, wasn't it? I think Murphy's face just summed it all up, I think, Shez. And if you did miss Murphy's face again, it was that. That's probably what everybody was doing in the crowd, Shez. That's why it went so quiet, mate, I think, at 5-0. It was funny, actually, that wasn't the only thing that caught everybody out by surprise. There was an emergency alert as well. And everybody's phones, if it didn't scare you a fair bit. The Spurs fans also got an alert on their phone, which was this, just to remind them, probably around about the 20th minute mark when the 5th goal went in, that their team, yes, is officially shit by the official emergency alert system. But no, I'm sorry, Spurs fans, I couldn't resist with that one. I really couldn't. That was courtesy of Carl and our chat group mates. A big shout out to Carl there. But yeah, I think just finishing off. Unbelievable performance by the lads. 6-1. Isak's arrogant celebration. Yeah, you're right, Shez. Love it. I love Isak's arrogance. I love it, mate. He's just absolutely quality. Yeah, well, Trolls in the comment as well. I got to say hello, Trolls. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you too, mate. But yeah, just finishing up. I think we were looking for a win. We were looking for a performance, and we were looking for a way to bounce back against Aston Villa. None of us saw that coming, and that shows to me how hungry this team is to get that top 3 spot now. I think we said a while ago the Carabao Cup final was a bit of a distraction, and I think it played in the players' minds, and our form did dip a little bit going into that final. But this is Newcastle United firing on all cylinders, aiming for top 4. We are the informed team. I would be shocked if we don't get it. I really would. I think we would be a bit disappointed if we don't get it. But whatever happens, it's been an unbelievable season with great memories. And this is right up there with some of the very best. And, look out next week for Newcastle United, because we're coming. We're coming next week. I can't remember who the hell we're playing. We're playing Everton. Is it Everton or Arsenal? Someone tell me in the comments. I can't check the fixtures while I'm chatting to all you guys. But we are looking unbelievable at the minute, and just a joy to watch, as Danny Rose said as well. But that's me pretty much signing off, guys. So thank you so much to everybody who jumped in the comments. As I mentioned at the start, if you're new to the channel, and a couple of new guys there, smash that subscribe button, come and join us, like the video, or Mark will tell me off. It really helps get it around YouTube and helps the channel grow. This is Chris signing off. Until then, let's keep supporting that team we call United. And what an unbelievable game. Thank you, David. It is Everton. Bring them fuckers on. Sean Dyche and that husky voice. Have some Jakemans, mate, and suck it, because we are going to batter you like we battered these fuckers today. So this is Chris signing off. Have a great night, everybody. Whatever you do, and have a beer. Enjoy it. Wear mint. What a great team we are. 3rd in the league again. And wow, just wow. 6-1 today. All right, guys. We'll catch you all later. Cheers now.